Hello, good evening class. Okay, let's get settled down and continue with our class. Put away your handphones, put aside your bags. Yes, please open up your laptops, boot up and get into the Padlet the link that I've sent you. Today we will have a lesson about grammar. We've been doing a lot of reading, writing and listening and speaking, but I wanted to do something about English grammar today. Okay. How many of you write reports at work? Long or short reports, even updates to your bosses or updates to your colleagues. You might have written them on email, short messages, or on WhatsApp text, line text, for example. Every one of you. Very good. How does it sound like? How would you write this, especially if it is written to, say, a status update to your customers, to the suppliers, maybe to your boss, to your colleagues? What's the tone of voice? Yes, Watanabe-san? Yeah, correct. It should be formal. Do you use slang words? Do you use relaxed colloquial words as if you are the words that you may use with your children, for example? Yes, Yuko-san, correct. We should be using clear, defined language, clear words, so that there's there's a smaller chance of being misunderstood. Yes, that's correct. So the lesson objectives for today. First, let's try to understand the use of passive voice in business writing. And then we try to understand what is the indirect speech and look at some examples of its application in business communications. And then at the end of the day, I would like you to do an assessment, read through a business article and identify the use of the passive voice and indirect speech versus the active voice and the direct speech. How do we use them appropriately in the business reports? So business reports have to be clear, like what Yuko said just now. They are usually formal, what Mr. Watanabe has said. That's because if there's any misunderstanding, there could be potential financial penalties that would be very expensive in the business circle. Agree? Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. So remember the objectives. Let's start first with a practice. I have given you this article to read. I hope you have already read it when you were at home before you came to class. This is an article from S&P Global Market Intelligence. It is talking about the higher interest rates in the market today, reducing the fair value of the US banks because some of the less well-capitalized banks. Based on this information, as well as this article, I have pulled out a few sentences to highlight to you what is a direct speech and what is indirect speech. So when you're writing formal reports, you'll be using indirect speech mostly. So let's start from flashcard number 1. This is one of the sentences quoted in the article itself. Our deposit base has been incredibly stable, stated Chairman, President and CEO Peter Ho during a July conference call. Okay, so this is a direct speech because it is quoting the CEO Peter Ho saying it. So the person is quoted, the person said this sentence. Now, the indirect speech version would be Chairman, President and CEO Peter Ho stated during a July conference call that their deposit base had been incredibly stable. So this is rephrasing the sentence and removing the quotes in inverted commas, and we are recounting, we are repeating what he has said, but without using the words that he said himself. Okay, so let's look at another example. This is another sentence. Perhaps Mr. Hayashi-san, would you like to try reading this and then suggest how it may be rephrased into an indirect speech? That's very good, Mr. Hayashi-san. Yes, the rephrased version, you got it almost correct, almost exactly the same. Peter Ho added that they had a pretty good sized war chest of immediately available backup lines of credit. Okay, now let's move on. Inoue-san, would you like to try reading this and then after that giving me the indirect speech version? Okay, that was a good practice of the direct and indirect speech. Now, what did we just do? What we have done is we have been, in the exercise that we have gone through, we have transformed direct speech, which are quoting the exact words of what somebody has said, and we have transformed it into indirect speech, which is reporting what they have said, or we are paraphrasing the sentences, the statements that they have made that are in inverted commas, which are words that they have spoken. We have reported it, or we have paraphrased them and then written it out for our audience to consume. Our audience will be the people who read our business reports. Okay. Another way of transforming sentences is from the active voice into the passive voice. Now, the active voice emphasizes the doer, the person creating the action, the doer of the action, the person who is active, making the action happen. It transforms the active voice into a passive voice. The passive voice actually focuses on the action itself, doesn't focus on the person who is making the action. Okay, let's take a look at, let's have a practice as a class again. Okay, let's start from this set of flashcards. The team is analyzing the economic trends to identify potential opportunities for growth. Here, the sentence starts with the team, and the team is the doer, the team is analyzing, the team is estimating, the team is forecasting, the team is researching, so the team is the doer, that's the focus, and then their action comes later. So this transforms to, in the passive voice, economic trends are being analyzed by the team to identify potential opportunities for growth. See the difference? Okay, let's go back. The team is analyzing the economic trends to identify potential opportunities for growth. Transform the team, which is the doer of the action. We focus on the action itself, which is analyzing economic trends. So the statement is now paraphrased as economic trends are being analyzed by the team to identify potential opportunities for growth. In a written report that is formal, this passive voice is conventionally, this is usually applied. Okay, now let's get somebody to try this. Sato-san, would you like to try reading this and then transforming it into the passive voice? Okay, that's very good, Mr. Sato. Which one is the doer? The person creating the action. Okay, is we inside here. And then what is the action that we will, in the passive voice, be focusing on? So in the passive voice, we are focusing on cost-cutting measures are being